Hey, I've got a little friend today, so hopefully he is all right waiting. And we'll be all good. The peanut gallery can get a little loud when we're talking about supporting children who learn and feel a little bit outside of the box. Just give them structure, they say knowingly. Make a routine, as if that would solve it all. Add in some brain breaks. Brain breaks? My child doesn't like sport. Whatever it may be, you're probably tired of the same old advice. So today it's all about silencing that peanut gallery, but providing you with 3 experiments. I want to share with you a 3-block school day, a visual transition chart, and a daily emotional check-in. Welcome to the Mindful Toolbox podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Lynn, and today I want to share something a little fresh, a little new for you. We're going to be exploring 3 simple experiments that you can try at home or in partnership with the school. Now, these experiments all come from my personal teacher toolbox and is always grounded in our ability to be flexible because no child is the same, therefore no same structure, system, or routine will have the same effect. So that's why we're putting on our experimental caps and we're looking at things that aren't just rigid schedules or being the perfect parent. We're about testing, tweaking, and finding systems that actually work for your child's brain and their nervous system. I've said this in a previous episode, and it seemed to be something that really hit hard with our listeners. I said ADHD isn't about laziness or even a lack of motivation. It's about regulation. It's about working memory that drops things quicker than it's able to pick it up. It's about a brain that sees all of the tasks of the day, that big, huge elephant that's standing in front of them, and gets overwhelmed before they even start. And that's why we ground ourselves in systems. It's not there to control. It's not there to nag. In fact, putting systems in place reduces your role as the parent to be the one reminding, reproaching, and keeping the things going. It gives ownership and accountability to the child. Basically, what we're doing with our systems is we're externalizing what's happening inside their brain and putting it outside in small, bite-sized visual prompts so they don't have to juggle it all themselves. And I'm really excited because the newest research in the last couple of years have shown that the most effective systems are comprised of a couple of key elements, which we're going to talk about more specifically in depth today. But essentially, they are co-created with children. They're not handed down as rules. They include emotional well-being check-in, which for a company that specializes on the intersection between academics and emotional well-being, this is such a beautiful reminder about how one impacts the other. So it's not just about to-do lists or homework getting ticked off. And sometimes we can even use digital tools to help bridge the gap between being at home and being at school. So those are the 3 different things that the most recent research is suggesting is super powerful in supporting students that have neurodiversity in thriving both within the academic world as well as at home. Ready to look at them with me? Let's grab your pen, your paper, and your drink of choice today. I've got super matcha green tea, and let's dive on in. Okay, so as I mentioned, today we're going to explore a 3-block school day, visual transitions, and daily check-ins. So let's start with the first experiment, experiment 1, the 3-block school day. This came from a family that I worked with last year. Mary, she was 11, and homework was a mountain for her. as most of us would, when she'd come home from school, we'd ask, what homework do you have? She'd say maths and English and a little bit of reading and spelling and science. So then mom would sit her down at the table with a snack and her homework while mom would start dinner for the family. But within, 10 minutes, there was tears, pencil chewing, and eventually just a total shutdown. Mary would not be able to approach her homework independently without her mom sitting right beside her and sometimes even writing and filling in the answers for her. So instead of pushing through, they got in touch with a company like Mind Bettering Youth, and we decided to try things a little bit differently. We decided to do blocked approaches. So we suggested and coached the family through doing 20 minutes of the most difficult topic, maths in this case. Then we came up with a 5-minute break that really suited Mary. She really loved bouncing on her trampoline, so that was her 5-minute break. Then we started a second 20-minute round. In this case, it was usually reading. And then she would follow with a snack, so she had dedicated time for that snack instead of being at the table with her work. And then 20 minutes to finish off any of the tasks. And at first, it felt a little bit difficult. I'm not going to lie. Any new change is going to be difficult. Any new habit or routine is going to hit resistance, right? Now, I'm going to be honest. She wasn't finishing everything, okay? But she was finishing something every single day. And what's more important to her family and to us as a whole is she was calmer and she was actually willing to come back to the table each and every round. Now, we've mentioned this a little bit in previous episodes when we talked about building a routine and the power of the Pomodoro method, breaking things down into small bite-sized chunks. But what's really cool is that the most recent research actually backs this up. It talks about how structured blocks reduce off-task behavior and keep the working memory online. And if you're wondering a little bit more about this and why these short blocks work so well, go back to episode 3 where I explained the flip the lid brain model that is going to help you understand what's really happening when your child shuts down and what we can do before that to help them regulate. So if you're drowning in after-school battles like Mary's mom, try this. Set a timer for 20 minutes, do an activity, then take a real rewarding break for 5 minutes, and then come back and restart. And if your child can't do that 20-minute block, that is okay. Shorten the block timings and just keep repeating that format. And at the end of the day, even if you only get through one block, that's a win. And it's totally okay if they go back to school without their full homework completed. Just write a little note in their planner or on a sticky note, put it on their homework, and just touch base with the school. Let them know that they're having lots of overwhelm with independent homework, that you've tried the Pomodoro method. They got through one block, but you're going to try again tomorrow. If the teacher has any feedback or wants to specify which homework is priority, then that would be a real plus for everyone involved. Okay, moving forward to experiment number 2, visual transitions. This one is for morning. Now, this podcast has covered so much around morning structure and routine, so there are many other episodes that will help you through this if you need to dig in a little bit more. But if this sounds familiar, this is a great place to start. You know the drill. You're at the door, you're already 5 minutes late, and you're yelling, shoes on, brush your teeth, where are your socks? Do you have PE today? Grab your lunch. Have you packed your bag? And somehow your child reappears with a box of Legos instead. Sound familiar? That was Henry's house. His dad was exhausted before October half term even hit because it felt felt like he was talking to a wall, as though he was repeating the same things over and over and over again, like a record player, and yet it wasn't sticking in Henry's mind, and therefore the actions weren't being completed. So when we started working together, we identified that Henry's working memory wasn't able to carry more than 2 tasks at a time, especially in the morning when there's a little bit of butterflies about transitioning from his safe zone, home, towards school. So what we did was we grabbed all of the things that he needed to do, that he was listening but not processing, and we put it on a simple visual chart. Photos, not words. Wake up, get dressed, breakfast, teeth, shoes, bag, do you have PE? Every single time Henry finished a step, he was able to tick it off with a wipeable marker. Now, the beauty of this one is that it supports the entire family dynamic. You know, we talked a lot about co-regulation and emotional tools in episode 4, and this one is one of those tools in action. You are borrowing calm by taking the shouting out of the morning. How beautiful is that? And the outcome? Well, Henry's dad at first had to remind him, have you looked at the whiteboard yet? Have you ticked everything off the whiteboard yet? Go tick that off the whiteboard. It was a consistent reminder about the whiteboard. But by week 3, Henry was racing to beat the chart. No more shouting. No more endless reminders. Instead, just smooth transitions, which made the whole morning flow so much easier for everyone in the house. Here's the magic. Visuals take demand off the working memory. Plus, having something laid out pulls your role as negger away from you, and instead it lets kids see the day, see what they have to do, and take ownership of it. When we're able to see it written down or as a photo, and we can tick it off, then it leaves the brain and there's no more looping. It creates more space in their head. So, if this feels like your child, the one who grabs the random toy instead of their school bag before they have to leave, try this with your mornings. A simple whiteboard, a chart by the door, or even an app if that works better for you. Gamify it, put it for the whole family. Create a mom or a dad to-do list in the morning and a sibling to-do list in the morning, and gamify it. See who's able to not only accomplish it, but accomplish it without mistake. And that finally leaves us to experiment 3, the daily check-in. Now, this one comes from Leah's mom. Every day, Leah, who is a year 10 student, would come home, dump her bag, and then just completely shut down. She would go to her room, she'd be on her phone, she'd play her music, she didn't even want to come down for dinner sometime. There were so many meltdowns, silence, just complete and total overwhelm. So instead of forcing homework right away, her mom started a new routine, a new practice. What better way to get to a child's brain than through their belly? Exactly. When Leah would come home from school, Mom would make her a snack. At the beginning, she was asked to come down the stairs and sit at the table to be able to take the snack. It was a way of treating her into a family-neutral space, the kitchen. While Leah was sitting there eating and enjoying her snack, Mom would ask her 2 questions, and that's it. What felt hard today, and what felt good? And yeah, you're probably there rolling your eyes thinking, yeah, right, is my year 10 student going to answer that question? Yeah, and you're right. At the beginning, Leah only shrugged. But after a couple of weeks of always being entreated downstairs with a snack, Leah started coming down knowing the snack was coming. Leah started to understand that that was going to be the question that her mom asked her every single day. And eventually, she began to share, math was too fast, but I liked art. And together they brainstormed a small support for her to speak to her math teacher. Then they came up with a plan to work with a maths tutor. And slowly, the after-school meltdowns shrank away. And the main reason it shrunk away is because we weren't trying to force, we weren't trying to impose, we weren't trying to just tick an arbitrary tick box of getting homework done. We were trying to build a bridge, understand where Leah was coming from, give her a voice so she could talk to us about how she was feeling, and then we could create action plans around what she shared. It was about emotional safety. If this sounds familiar, you might also want to listen back to episode 2 on school non-attendance, not because your child's not going to school, but because we talk in depth about emotional check-ins and how they can be a powerful bridge for kids who struggle just to get through the school gate in the morning. And if you want to go one step further and check all of our sources, we are going to be sharing the research that suggests that check-ins build regulation and trust down below in our description box or in our show notes. Because honestly, it's something that I don't want you to just look past because it sounds easy. It sounds easy. It is easy. But the process itself is gonna need a little bit of experimentation. So there you go. 3 experiments to try this term. Don't wait until after Christmas to try these. Start now before the year just gets away from us. First, you could break the day into 3 little chunks or 3 little blocks. Do a little section, have a break. Section, snack, section, break. Number 2, you can use a visual chart for transitions. This is incredibly powerful, and many of our older students also have fed back that they still find it helpful. And experiment number 3, add a daily check-in. It doesn't need to be huge or a big conversation, just a little moment that says, I'm carving out this space for you, so if you ever need me, you know that you can come to me now. It doesn't have to be a whole overhaul. It doesn't even have to be all 3 of them. Just choose one, give it a week or so, and see what shifts. Remember, progress over perfection, always. And of course, if mornings and transitions and getting even into the school is the hardest bit right now, episode 9, 10, and 11 of the Mindful Toolbox podcast go deep into emotional-based school non-attendance and reintegration. Those podcasts are going to be some of your posts that are going to help you not only support your child and the family life, but also support your own mental well-being and connect better and stronger with the school system around you as well. So those could be really good next listens after this one. As always, if you found this episode helpful, I would love for you to share it with a family who is in the trenches when it comes to supporting a child that feels a little bit more or needs a little bit of help processing what the tasks of the day are. And don't forget to mark in your calendar 2 Thursdays from now, 7 a.m. We always drop our following episode. And the next one is sure to be a good one. We're going to be talking about something I hear so much, especially when it comes to exam season. And this is how anxiety hijacks memory. So we're going to be diving into the science behind it, the research that explains why it happens, but more importantly, how to keep memory online when stress takes over so they don't blank on those exams. Until then, enjoy your tea, and don't forget to download the tools in the show notes. Take care. Woo-hoo-hoo. Look who's here just when I finish. Hi. Was it an interesting episode today? What did you learn? What did you learn? healer that it's time. Oh, good job. Oh, good job. Okay.